Well, hey everybody, how are you? Happy Wednesday, happy hump day. Just making a note to myself right here. The title of this video today is, are you ready to implement what you've learned or what you're learning? So let me just write this down, making a note to myself. What I see people doing sometimes is that it's not that we stop learning for our entire lives. That's always a good thing. Bridget, hey, good to see ya. How's your day going, girl? That's a good thing to keep on learning. But I find that in the beginning, and sometimes with veteran paralegals who are afraid to change jobs, they're afraid of rejection. Who isn't? Who isn't afraid of rejection, really? Who really likes it? That's the thing. So the thing is, once you start to see the value you are bringing to the attorney, and that's what you have to know. And let me grab my notebook. You know, I tell you to write down what you're learning, what your skills are. Okay? A question that is popping up in about 45 minutes will kind of hone in on that. So when you see that question come up, answer that. There'll be another one down the road a little bit that we'll post. I like knowing where you are, and not location-wise, but do you have certain skill sets? And people will say, oh yeah, I'm really good with that. I have to improve in a couple other areas, but I'm doing that. And then what's interesting is even people who are going to school or going through a certificate program think that they have to wait till the end of that to apply for jobs. Nobody wrote that in a rule book anywhere. Okay? You're thinking, if you do think that, you're thinking that there's a lot of weight put on the degree or the certificate. Not always. Okay? Because that doesn't mean you know how to help the attorney. Yeah, I know, it's a shocker. Total shocker. When you are writing a cover letter, getting your resume ready, you have to, and when you go on the interview, when you get called for the interview, you have to be ready to explain yourself. Watch yesterday's video. Okay, so are you ready to implement what you are learning or have learned? And does that question put fear in you? Well, we're all fearful when we go on the interviews. I don't care if you have 20 years experience, you're fearful, but what I felt, this is what I always said to myself before I walked in. The worst thing that can happen, and they won't tell you in the interview, is that they'll say no. They won't accept you. They won't. And for me, that was a learning time, but it was also a very insightful time of realizing that there are some law firms I don't belong in and I don't want to be in. Okay? So there were some times I felt afterwards, I found out, gosh, I was really protected and didn't get that job, and that was a protection on me from God that I didn't land that job because it was a horrible place to work. Yeah, I'll take it. I'll take that protection. Hey, Sophia, good to see you. So, for my students who are taking my class right now, there's nothing written in stone. In fact, one of my students had a job where she was interviewing or applying for it. She was given a heads up on a job, and she would be considered for it, and they decided to wait to put anybody in that position. But people are still getting hired, and that my student would have been working from home. I mean, most people are working from home now. They're not working in the office, or there'll be one person in the office and they'll rotate it. So people can go look at the files and the hard copies of the files and all that. But technology has given us that liberty to do that. Okay, so are you waiting out of fear? Are you waiting and thinking, well, I don't see any jobs? It may be because you don't know how to search. Or it may be that in your area, it's dry right now. You may be in a small town, you know, but I can tell you that jobs are opening. And unfortunately, and if you haven't gone into my Paralegal subscriber hub, you really need to do that. First, you have to go through my group, the Paralegal Break-In. Join that group if you're not in the legal field only. It's for people who are not in the legal field right now. You're totally new to it. I have people trying to join all the time who are paralegals or in the legal field, and that just tells me that directions aren't being read. So please don't try to join if you're a paralegal, okay? Answer the questions in order to join, and then come join us, and you'll see a link to the Paralegal subscriber hub or free goodies, okay? There's a video in there about the hot areas that I believe are going to open up or are opening up, and jobs are being advertised for that right now. Look, crimes are still committed, unfortunately. Criminal law is not going to go away. None of the law areas are going to go away, but some are going to go crazy and explode because of the pandemic. So there's a video in there about the 4 and really 5 areas that I believe will be hot. So you need to join the Paralegal Break-In group if you're not in the legal field, and then go and then look for the Paralegal Goodies link. Scroll down the feed and then go watch that video. There's several videos in there that are important to you. So let's go over this. Are you ready for this career change? Or will you just become a forever student and never make that jump? Don't be that person. Okay, you'll always be learning, or you should be. You know, that's the strong paralegal will never stop learning and looking up things. Curiosity should be at the forefront for you. That you should be on Google all the time looking things up. You should be researching areas of law, all of that. Okay, if you're not doing that, then is your interest really there? See, what I found that there are 2 camps. There are people who are really interested and others who think they're going to make $50,000 right out of the gate. That's not happening. Okay, I will pinky swear that with you. That will not happen, because you still have a lot to learn, and that takes a while to get to that point. You have to earn it, and you have to learn in order to earn that, okay? So learn to be happy while you're learning, and pursue what you need to pursue, but you've got to have curiosity at the front. And I see people all the time that are like, they want to be spoon-fed, and they're like birdies in the nest and want to be spoon-fed. That's not how this career goes. It doesn't matter if you're an introvert, extrovert, doesn't matter the age. Stop using age as an excuse not to go after your dreams. Okay? Don't use that stuff as an excuse. Go for it. Okay? Do you really want a new career or just a new situation? Good question to ask yourself. Is it you want out of what you're doing, so you figure you'll just go into the paralegal career, and but you're not sold on it? Be careful about understanding your why. Why do you want to do this? Okay? Are you really enthusiastic about it? If you're fearful and enthusiastic, that's okay. Because fear is, you should let fear push you into this further. And put it off to, keep pushing fear off to the side, because it's not going to leave. And then keep going forward in spite of it. It can feel like you're climbing a mountain. Truly, it can feel like it. But as you know, all through the last, if you've been with me for any amount of time, you know I talk about the hurdles and the mountains and the barriers, right? The feeling of overwhelm. Join the club. Every single person looking to either get in this career for the first time, or listen to this, a veteran paralegal changing to a different area of law feels a bit of overwhelm, and maybe not just a bit, but it is so worth it. If you're drawn to this field, then you're going to learn bit by bit. And if you think you're going to learn in 6 months, you're mistaken. If you think you're going to learn it by, going to a 2-year program or a certificate program, or you're going to pick it up, if you don't have any of that, that's fine. But you pick it up and you go into your first job and you're like, oh my gosh, I felt that in my first job. I felt that. But I thought, well, I'm going to give it my best shot. I don't give up easily, and I don't want you to either. Yeah, Linda. Yep. Linda says, that's right, Leslie. Thank you for the push. I am both. Fear pushes me indeed, but God. I can look at fear as coming from someplace other than God, right? But I am to have a healthy fear even of God, and not take God for granted and all of that. But fear doesn't have to, there's a great song by Francesca Battistelli. And she starts out, I don't know if it's the title of it, if it's called this, but she starts out with, "Fear you don't own me." And I was listening to that for the first time driving through the mountains of Tennessee, and I was actually fearful because I live in flat territory now. I lived in Oklahoma in the northeast corner where there were a lot of hills. I mean, big hills, not mountains. But I knew when I went to Tennessee that I was going to drive through Asheville, which is quite mountainous. And I started to get worried. And, honestly, I was singing along with that song as I fear you don't own me. But fear can play into this big time, going into this career. Like, am I going to be able to do this? Am I going to be smart enough? Am I going to be able? Now, if you look, I'm going to tell you right now, if you are putting attorneys on pedestals, please don't do that. They're just humans. And they did, some of them did well and some of them did not. Some of them struggled with certain things just like us. And they felt overwhelmed as well. So when they came out of law school, let me tell you, they didn't know how to do much. I will tell you that. And they will tell you that if they're being honest. So don't put an attorney up on a level of genius, because they're not. They're just human beings. My niece is an attorney. They're just plain old human beings who struggle like the rest of us. And, so take that out of the equation, that you're going to have to, they're just going to know more than you. Well, they will in the beginning. But give yourself that time to learn, but don't, sit in that learning and be afraid to move to the next step and implement what you've learned. And don't think, this is a really big thing with people either coming out of a 2-year program or certificate program, or don't have any of that and you're applying all over the place but nobody will hire you. I'm talking about for all 3 of those scenarios. And what people say all the time is, they only want experience. That is not the case. Okay? That means you're not searching correctly, or you're letting certain things stop you. All of which I teach in my class. Okay? But if you start using that excuse, they only want experience. my thing is you're applying to the wrong, for the wrong jobs, okay? So don't do that. And there are other things you have to learn about how to present yourself that isn't taught anywhere but by me, seriously. And how to communicate with the attorney in your cover letter and all of that, and things that you should know how to do, but no one's teaching to help the attorney, okay? So here's number 2. What have you been missing in a career you've been in, or maybe multiple careers, want? That's a question to answer for you. Wi-Fi is kicking out, guys, so I'm just going to keep going. So what is it that what's that missing thing that you're craving, and why are you going? Why are you going in the legal field? You can answer it here, or you can answer it in your notebook. Your why. And what is it that you feel you've missed or that you're craving to do? Number 3. What do I have or have I had in my current career or career that I liked or loved that I will have to give up in the new one? That's an interesting question. What are you possibly giving up in a career that you've been in? That would be, to me, I'll just use this as an example. Whether you're working as a nurse and you're taking care of people like right up close and personal, but you won't be doing the exact same thing in the legal field, right? So it's quite different. There's similarities, but quite different. If you worked in retail like I did, and you are helping people, I owned a plant nursery. And so I was helping people all day and teaching them about plants and trees and shrubs and all that. And carrying 50-pound bags, yes, I used to do that, to their car of topsoil and all of that. Then I didn't miss the carrying the heavy objects, but the teaching I missed. You know, that's something I missed. But I could teach and mentor young, like baby paralegals like I do now. And so what is it that you're leaving that you actually like to do that you won't be doing in the legal field? And how much will you miss it? Good question to ask. Do you have, this goes back to what I just talked about, do you have a real bead, B-E-A-D, or a real scoop, or another way to say it is an understanding of the paralegal career and what you'll be doing every day? Okay? Another question for you to figure out. You can Google what paralegals do in certain areas of law, okay? Can you use some of your past experience? And this goes to the question that you'll see pop up at about 1:15. Can I use some of my past experience to better my work as a paralegal? Like, how would your past experience help your work as a paralegal? So one of the questions, watch that question that comes up. It's a simple question at 1:15, and answer that. And there'll be another one. It won't be coming up for about 6 more days that I'll be asking that goes along with this. So before you transition, or while you're transitioning, ask yourself these tough questions, understanding why, and ask yourself, what area of law, but it should be more than one, Should be more than one area of law that you're interested in. You have to give yourself more flexibility than saying, I want to go in family law because I experienced some of the stuff there. Frankly, that's not good enough. You need to open it up, get out of that box, and just creak it open and start thinking about some other areas. Okay, why? Because there won't always be jobs when you're ready in family law or in criminal law or real estate law. You know, you have to have your mind. Is it a new career that you want, or do you need to make adjustments in your current career? What is your why? Is it that you feel stuck? Do you feel like you can't move any further in your career, or it's just got this ceiling and you can't do anything else and you're limited? You know, I felt that way in retail. I could see that I would be very limited. You know, and I didn't, as you know, and that was at a young age, and I didn't want to manage anybody. It's not my favorite thing in the world to manage people at all. I have as a paralegal. That was easier for me, but as far as managing anywhere else, it's even in my own business, it wasn't the most enjoyable thing. And I was managing teenagers, which honestly was not that, it was really okay. But it was, you really have to check up, and that goes for any age. It's not just teenagers, but it was a time to teach and hold them accountable. But that goes for any employee I've ever had. And me as an employee, I want to hold myself accountable. So think about, what's your target date to implement? I know the pandemic's going on. Let's just focus on that there are jobs that continue to open up. Not as plentiful as there were in February and January, but I really believe that is going to change, because people still have cases and they still have things that happen, and so that will continue to go on. Don't become disheartened by all that. Just understand that most paralegals right now, any office workers, are working from home. That's a whole new thing, and I'm putting a new module in my course before the next launch about working remotely, and my students are going to get the benefit of that even more so this week that are currently in my 2 classes. So we're going to have a discussion about that. So, any questions or comments? Thank you so much for your comments already. And fear will walk alongside of you. It doesn't have to dominate. Not at all. No domination by fear. Just do not serve fear. Do not give it the top billing in your life. Push it off to the side and keep focusing on what you need to do. Focus, focus, focus. The people in my class know that they have to keep pushing to watch the modules, to take notes, to do the training that is given. They have to keep pushing. So you all watching who are in a 2-year degree program, the certificate program, or if you don't have any of that but you want to get in, you have to keep learning in order to convince the attorney that you're the right candidate for the job. Okay, so think about the question that I posed. When is your plan to implement? When is your plan, and why do you want to be in this career? What is your real why? What's the answer to that? In the answer to the why. Okay? All right, so that is it for today. I have to do some training. I'm a minute late, but it was great hanging out with you all. And if you have any questions whatsoever, don't hesitate to ask. And don't forget, if you're new and you're watching this either now or on replay, go to my website, paralegalcoffeetalk.com, and check out the 2 complimentary items. 19 alternative paralegal careers list. Just remember 19, and just look at the top, you'll see that. And a free chapter of my book, Legal Break-In. Those are the 2 items. Or you can get the whole book if you like. And I have a video below if you scroll down of me flipping the pages, and you'll see some of the chapters in there. I just thought that would be interesting. But have a great one, everybody. Thanks for being here, Linda, Sophia, anybody else who is watching, and anybody watching on replay. Don't forget to check out, while you're on the website, the Paralegal Inner Circle class. Lots of info there. And there's, when you hover over the class, Paralegal Inner Circle class info, you'll also see there's a wait list you can sign up there, and there's more info there. Okay, have a great one. Talk to you tomorrow. Bye.